Alright everyone, so this video is going to be an overview of my first impressions regarding the Red Dead Redemption 2 online beta, which opened yesterday. I've ground out at least 10 plus hours so far, and there are a bunch of things that I wanted to discuss. This is not going to be scripted, it's not going to be some big formulated video. I just have a general list of talking points that I want to briefly discuss. Overall, I feel pretty neutral on the beta right now, which is decently expected considering the fact that it is a very early version of the beta and they want feedback, and there's probably a lot that's going to change. That being said, it's not blowing me away, and it's definitely not something I'm going to actively criticize at the moment, so keep that in mind if you're coming here because you had a bad experience in the beta. It's probably not going to be an echo chamber for that kind of criticism, though I will voice some concerns, at least a few mild ones at the very, very least, although some of them might not be so mild in the future anyways. It definitely also will not be glowing praise of the beta because I think it needs a lot of work, as any early beta would. Any early offering that is the basic bare bones of a system is obviously going to need some fleshing out and some tweaks and changes, so again, it's not going to be an echo chamber of just straight up positivity. The first point I want to touch on is general technical difficulty. I did play on Xbox, and that meant that I was unable to get into the beta even though I was supposed to be able to get in at 8:30 in the morning until sometime mid-afternoon. That by itself is really not a big deal. It just shows that they're accurately stressing their servers and they're, having a rocky launch and they're ironing out these problems so that further consecutive days of the beta and as they bring in more players, it will go smoother. So while, yes, it is annoying to not be able to get in when you thought you were able to get in, it is not a big deal and it doesn't hurt anyone in the long run. It's not a problem. The other thing is that I was constantly personally being disconnected because I am on Xbox. However, there were differences between Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. PlayStation seemed to be perfectly fine. They got in at the right time. Some people were playing all day and never got disconnected. So if you're playing on PlayStation, so far it's a little bit of a better experience. But these kind of general technical difficulties, network problems, instability, all that kind of stuff, that is to be expected. It's healthy to have. I'd much rather have it now than any other time in the future. That is what this is for. So just a note that it was performing better than previous online releases, to say the very least, though there were, a few rocky moments. I haven't really played as much today, and I'm sure that over a matter of days, these problems will be fixed, so it was worth just mentioning offhand for my first point, the general technical difficulties, but that's not really something to take into full consideration when you're considering online. The next general topic is PvP, and there are a couple different playlists with a bunch of different dedicated modes, and then there also is an open world component to PvP where you can fight any other player that comes your way. It is a shared world environment with up to 32 players, and PvP is enabled, so you can get shot from somewhere and not know where. People can repeatedly come back and go after you. On the map, there is a marker that shows your location, so other players can hunt each other down, and then there is a healthy selection of the dedicated modes. Some are definitely better than others. Personally, I prefer one called The Wanted. I thought it was a fantastic mode. It was extremely fun, and I personally would look for only that mode. I would love to play, a dedicated playlist of just that mode, but I wasn't able to find an area where I could queue for just that, so I was stuck kind of hoping it would pop up in the general selection. So PvP definitely has positive and negative modes, some that you're going to like more than others, and balance-wise, PvP has a few issues. What I encountered in PvP to be the case is that shotguns just one-tap you almost every time from pretty much full medium range distance and anything within that. Short range, of course, medium range as well, and then it's just really no competition. Whoever pulls the trigger first in a lot of circumstances will win, especially when they have a shotgun. Not only that, but any weapon is a one-shot headshot kill, which it's not something I'm fundamentally arguing against, but it feels a little bit awkward when almost from any range, but definitely from medium to close range, it just becomes a matter of who can, suction aim with the aim assist first and then pull the trigger, because landing headshots is very, very easy. I mean, I can't do it every single time, and neither can anyone else, but when you can do it reliably, or if you have a shotgun and you're at medium to close range, it doesn't even matter. It does not have to be a headshot. When you're getting one-tapped by almost every single thing in the game in most encounters, it can create some weird pacing. And it makes it kind of an odd engagement, right? When you run around a corner and there's someone there, it's kind of this mutual understanding that whoever is pulling the trigger first just wins that encounter, because probably you're both using shotguns, since you unlock, you know, a pump action shotgun really, really early, and it's just as strong as any other weapon, if not stronger, in the game. It's just this weird sort of pacing. It's an awkward feeling. I'm not entirely sure what they would have to do to address this. Maybe mess with the spread of shotgun pellets, also mess with the optimal range on a lot of guns to really, you know, construct a sort of class-based system or archetype-based system where a rifle must be used from long range and medium range, and pistols have like a specific slot where they're most effective, but then rifles are maybe ineffective up close to incentivize them to be properly used when they would be used, and then up close a shotgun can shine, but for medium range it doesn't just still instantly one tap. There's a lot of balancing to be done here. It's a very early beta, thank God for that. We'll see how it shapes up, but that was definitely worth talking about. The next thing I want to discuss I consider to be pretty genius, and that is the parlay or anti-griefing system. So basically, when you have a shared world environment where everyone has a marker on the map that identifies their location clearly, you open up the door for griefers or trollers or people that are just generally trying to mess with the experience of others. It exists in pretty much any game, and it definitely could run rampant in Red Dead Redemption 2 Online. However, they have this tricky little system, and by tricky I actually mean innovative and pretty fun and very helpful, where if you're attacking the same person over and over and over, or they're attacking you, and you guys engage in a lot of PvP together, and then you maybe get bored and you don't want to do that anymore, and they don't get bored and they keep coming after you and they keep hunting you down and messing with your activities, you can select the parlay option, which will put you into an exclusive pacifist mode with just that player for a total of 10 minutes. 10 minutes may not seem like all that much time, but it really is. When you're in a pacifist mode and cannot damage that particular player, but all the rest of your PvP is fully enabled, you're going to get bored over those 10 minutes. So anyone trying to maliciously grief other players, if they kill them even just a few times, the other player can then say, that's enough, all right, we engaged, we had our fun, let's parlay, and then you cannot hurt them for 10 minutes. And almost every griefer that I've ever met in my entire life is going to get bored during that span of time and move on. The really good thing is that it doesn't hinder you in any way. You can parlay with 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter how many people over the course of 10 minutes, and you'll be barred from interacting in a hostile way with those people. But you can do anything else in the world. You can continue to play as normal, and your experience really isn't affected. It's honestly a really innovative way to deal with the griefing problem, and a lot of people, especially in the live stream, were coming in and asking if there were systems to prevent this, if there was stuff to help mitigate the problem of being trolled or hogtied repeatedly, or players coming after you maliciously. And it turns out there is a system, and it's, you know, it's really, really cool. The next thing that people are asking routinely in the live stream chat is, how does Deadeye function, and how do the cards and abilities work? So basically, Deadeye is no longer a time slow. Instead, you get to choose one of a variety of different cards, and I won't go in depth on all the different effects, but the one I chose allowed me to pop Deadeye and then heal my health while Deadeye was active. If I got shot, it would take me out of it. It was just an active effect associated with Deadeye that was not a time slow, and some of them are pretty cool. So it's an interesting system. Deadeye is nowhere near as overpowered as it was and is in the story single player, but it is functional. It does give a boost to you and your team maybe, and it is pretty cool. So Deadeye does have a definite functionality. It will be useful. There will be an element of choice to what Deadeye does for you, but it is not a time slow. It's not the same as the story. You also have passive perk ability cards that you unlock over time, and you can equip up to 3 of those, and those will benefit your character in different ways. So there's not really going to be builds per se where you have a bunch of different choices, but you have a decent amount, and you can definitely, you know, construct your character in a way that makes it slightly unique and slightly different from most others that you will encounter. The perk cards do cost money though, and money is quite hard to get. So keep that in mind, and this will feed right into our next point, which is the grinding, the money, monetization, and the economy. It becomes very obvious after a very short amount of time playing the beta that the economy is going to be heavily focused on microtransactions. Now, to what degree remains to be seen, but this is one area where I'm extremely, extremely skeptical. I do not want to see it devolve into a system that, you know, decreases the enjoyment of players by over-incentivizing you to purchase things with real money. And the economy overall appears to be heavily, heavily oriented around making it very difficult to acquire anything and making it really, really appealing to buy premium gold currency. So I'm pretty sure someone out there is probably going to do the math on this, but I'll just loosely kind of outline what position I'm coming from and why I hold these views. The grind is insane because basically when I got to level 11 or rank 11 after about, 8 or 10 hours of grinding, and yeah, I wasn't as efficient as I could have been. I got disconnected a few times, but whatever. After about 8 or 10 hours, I had gotten to rank 11 plus, and I'd unlocked a shotgun, and that shotgun costed something like $700 to $800. I think it was closer to 800, and it was a cool shotgun. It was one that I wanted. Now, in my entire 8 plus 10 plus hours, I had only managed to grind about $400 or less than that from all of my activities, and that is a little over or maybe about half of what I would need to just buy the basic shotgun from the store. You're not getting very much from activities. When you're doing a PvP match, you're getting $2 or less sometimes from that. And that's okay because it doesn't take very much time, but open world side missions and stuff, sometimes taking upwards of 10 to 15 minutes, again, you're only getting like $1 or $2 or $3. And there are certain main story missions where you're getting like $80. There are certain more lucrative things that you can do. But as of right now, all the most lucrative things that I've found are non-repeatable. So I haven't found a way to go back and do that specific main story mission again in the online mode to get all of that bonus money. So, it's all one-offs. And that means that, getting the funds to get the expensive weapons, which are pretty expensive and much more expensive in online versus the main story single player, getting the funds to do that is going to become very, very grindy, and you're going to have to do certain activities over and over and over. Now, I know what some people are thinking. That's good. It's about the grind. The grind is a core component of online, and yes, you're right. But when you're modding a gun, it still costs something like $70 to $80, sometimes even per component piece, to mod a weapon. That is completely disregarding the cosmetic customization that you can do on the weapon too. So you're going to spend upwards of $1,500 plus to get one rank 11 shotgun and then have it kitted out the way that you want. That's a lot of money considering it took me 10 hours, and I mean, I'm sure other people are more efficient, but it can easily take you, 10 hours times, I don't even know, 5, 6, 7. It can take you 50, 60, 100 hours even to get one weapon with regular dollars and then mod that weapon even partially. And all this makes no mention of the premium currency, which is gold. Now, gold you accumulate at a snail's pace. It takes you forever to get any amount of gold. Now, this is clearly going to be the premium currency in the game, and if it's not something that you can purchase flat out from the store, I will eat my words, but it seems pretty obvious to me that it is. And gold can be used to circumvent this entire grind. Right? You can completely bypass all of the grinding, get all the best weapons, all the attachments and stuff immediately as soon as you reach the level where you can wield them and equip them and buy them, and it's huge amounts of gold too. So they do have this system where you can earn gold in game, tiny fractions of it. I accumulated 1 gold after 10 hours of grinding, and half of that gold, like 0.43 or something around there, was all from one single non-repeatable mission. So I actually accumulated something like half of a gold after 10 hours of playing, and getting one gun with gold cost something like 27 gold. So you see where I'm going with this. The amount of gold that you're getting is clearly a gimmick. It doesn't actually allow you to purchase anything with gold unless you spend thousands of hours grinding for it. And the gold itself, if you do choose to spend real money, means that you will have the good guns in the game and the good attachments, because attachments also affect weapon stability and accuracy, etc. You'll have the better stuff, all the better stuff, dozens or even hundreds, possibly thousands of hours ahead of all the other players that did not purchase gold with real money. So it matters. It really matters. They're flirting with the line of pay to win. They're really flirting with it. And that's where, I get really skeptical, and I kind of have to take a beat and draw myself back in, because there's a lot of good components to online, but I do not want to see it stray too close to pay to win. It's like Icarus that flew too close to the sun and got burned. That's kind of the situation that we're in. Rockstar is not infallible. They're not unimpeachable. They're not above, being held accountable for doing uncomfortable and inconvenient practices for the consumer, and it remains to be seen where Red Dead Redemption 2 Online is going to go in terms of microtransactions, pay to win, and premium currency. There is an honor system in online which appears to affect what kinds of events you have access to, and it is, never fear, it's much better than the story version of honor. In the story single player version, if you had positive honor, you got a ton of benefits, and if you had negative honor, you basically got nothing at all, and the game almost punished you for it. So in online, that honor system is better. If you have positive honor, you gain access to different types of events, and different things will happen to you because of that positive honor, and the same inverse types of events will happen if you have low honor. I have not fully explored this system as of just yet, and I think it's going to take me a very long time to do so because of the amount of content available and all the different things that I have to test, but it seems like there is an equal and opposite effect, so neither one side, positive or negative honor, is just categorically stronger or better or more useful than the other, which is a good change from the main single-player story. When it all comes down to it, if you combine everything, I'm pretty neutral on the beta right now. I'm not blown away by any stretch, and that's not, that's disregarding technical problems. All that stuff is completely off of my radar when it comes to judging, how fun online mode is, how good it will be. All that stuff will get ironed out and fixed. So don't think that I'm throwing shade at Rockstar and the beta for that. The technical stuff, better now than later, and of course it will all get ironed out. But in general, when you encompass PvP, the open world aspect, the grinding, especially the heavy incentivized microtransactions, which we don't know the full scope of yet, and everything else out there, the inability for me to play the one, well, there were more than one, but the main PvP mode that I loved, I absolutely loved the one called The Wanted. I wasn't able to just queue for that. There was this kind of rumor going around that there would be a battle royale, but it's not a battle royale. It's just throwing knives or a bow and arrow, and there's 10 people, and the map sort of shrinks. It ends up taking a fraction of the time. There's no looting. There's nothing, there's not many core systems that a battle royale actually has. So, I don't know. A lot of people were saying, like IGN included, that there was a battle royale. There's not really. Don't go in expecting an actual battle royale. But there's still no way that I found to queue just for that, like I said. So, encompassing everything, I'm really neutral on the beta. It's obviously going to have a lot of, fun times for a lot of people, but it also has some stuff that needs work, and that's pretty indicative and true of an early access beta where things will change. So all in all, everything encompassed, neutral on it. It could definitely get better. It could definitely get worse. Hopefully anyone that's out there wanting to play it and trying to play it and looking forward to it has a great time. But don't necessarily go in thinking that this is going to be a knockout punch and change the world. I don't see this stacking up very well against GTA 5 Online. I don't really think that it's going to gain the same sort of popularity or the same sort of traction, just because they're locked into a theme that has less freedom, and then on top of that, the economy is going to be a whole different creature. It really has, I don't know, it's got a long ways to go, and it remains to be seen. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you want to support, there's links down below to check out, and we're probably going to offer some merchandise soon again in the future. I do live stream the online mode frequently, so if you want to catch a live broadcast, you can hit the notification bell and then tune into one of those. There's no schedule. It's just all over the place, but I'll stop rambling there. Thank you for listening to my first impressions of Red Dead Redemption 2 Online. Hopefully there's some valuable information or opinion in there for people, and yeah, I'll wrap it up there. As always, thank you for watching, and have a nice night.